Lamois, I must apologize. I must ask you to stand and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent. And I will do all I can until the court realizes this.
Your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots at the shooter's voice of the window. And that the voice belonged to Darian Crescend, yes?
That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. Small window at the scene was closed, and what was found to be quite soundproof.
You have nothing to say, Mr. Justice. But I don't know exactly what yet, but I know there's something here. Something there.
There is, it seems, much you do not know.
And yet it's my duty to hear him out. Perhaps his witness would be so kind to testify once more to the court.
Of course, Your Honor. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That was when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard a faint sound of the gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was a smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window. She was in a hurry because it was the magic trick! That's the time!
I don't think she was in the window at all.
No, where else? She was in the vent.
That's what I'm thinking.
Was she in the vent? Well, they would have found her fingerprints up there, wouldn't they?
Is she wearing gloves? She also has a big dress and everything like that, and
no gloves. Well, you read the Jetson go.
Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony.
I am sorry. I'm not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way.
How did she smell gunpowder, though? She had to be in the vent.
Yet everything I have said here is the truth. Then it's my distinct pleasure to say this. What you've just said to have happened is impossible.
Do I have to repeat myself? Lamora was attacked because of this testimony. What, Trucy? Apollo, you know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness.
Alright, we're going to the end. There's something there.
I had a premonition, man.
Well, before I do anything, what's your premonition?
I think the assault was separate.
Why?
Because maybe she was about to blab about the magic trick, and a certain magician wanted to keep her silent.
Well, he would have no reason to think she would just tell.
But maybe something in this was so close, right? Like, she said small window, but I definitely know it's not I don't think she was looking in the small window.
No. I think we're
practical save.
Yeah, good point. Well, we're just pressing here. We're not doing anything yet.
Okay.
We don't need a tactical save yet.
You were in a hurry to go where?
I was on my way to the backstage exit, as I have said.
Why were you in such a hurry, then?
Well, I don't think that had anything to do with this case. No, tell us. Tell us it's the magic trick. Tell us.
Very well might. Please answer the question.
Objection!
Are you alright, Lamois? Yes. Yes, I am just tired. Recall what I told you yesterday, Forehead? Lamar suffers from serious amnesia. Please refrain from traumatizing her further.
What? So he can just dismiss questions he thinks are too traumatizing?
Why don't you prove her reason had a connection to the case, Ja? Before asking about it, Ja.
Prosecution's objection is sustained. The current question is moot. Mr. Justice, please continue with the cross-examination.
Okay, so my guess. Okay, so we could probably have to press somewhere else first, and then we can press on it again, and then it'll be like, wait a minute. Alright, I didn't let you read that.
Lamar was attacked because of the testimony. I know she was, so something's got to be hidden here. Maybe there's some kind of detail we're missing. I guess we'll just have to get her to fill in the blanks.
Is something wrong?
I know I said hold it, but she's saying the same thing she said before. Mr. Justice? Sorry, it's nothing. Please continue with your testimony.
Oh, good grief, Apollo.
Now I know what they mean by the reckless youth these days.
The one in red over there is shining example here, Judge.
You're the last person who should be pointing fingers, Mr. Rockstar.
Okay, so it seems like the same ones from before.
There were 2 gunshots.
Yes. Excuse me as I choke on my own saliva or something. Yes, I heard 2, one after the other.
That fits the bullet holes on the scene. Why didn't you tell someone immediately?
Well,
If it were me, I would have gone to the police right away. It's our duty as citizens.
This may be beside the point, but Lamar isn't a citizen. So one would hope such common sense prevails in Virginia as well.
Lamar seems awfully quiet all of a sudden. That's strange. Could she be hiding something?
Just as you say, yet at the time. Wait, I think I have an idea. Drop a save. So what I think it might want here is this. This is why she was in a hurry.
But it doesn't contradict anything.
Well, sometimes it's not a direct contradiction. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, I was doing this," and like we have to like sometimes presenting evidence is pointing out the why. An idea.
Wait, was that her? Was that her earpiece?
No, she did confirm she had an earpiece.
As if she went and stopped. Maybe she stopped to get her.
Because she's the one that pointed out. Wait, was it on her? Was it hers? Did she confirm?
She never pointed out whose it was.
She said she felt something on the floor, but she didn't know what it was.
Okay.
We'll just press everything.
Arian Crescend.
Did not know his name at the time, but yes, it was him, the one who took the stand yesterday.
I think you put the earpiece against her window thing.
How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There's no way you could have heard him. What you thinking, Earl?
I think you have to check the earpiece against her. Because her brooch had to get in there during the incident, right? And she was in a hurry. Was her brooch in the video after she teleported? Might be a good time to check. So right when he picks up and throws her. She changes outfits, that's for sure. Thing break. Her thing is teleporting. There's no brooch on.
It was a whole different outfit.
She went there, dropped the earpiece and the brooch. She probably went to change in the dressing room.
There was no brooch there.
I think it's the earpiece or the brooch. Because she didn't see it through a small window. She went in the room from the front, and the killer might have shot at her. She stopped, and then maybe he blocked her shot, or something like that, and then she continued onto this trick. Tactical save and try me.
Well, read.
Because the window at the scene was closed. Is that why?
Of course.
Paul, if we keep asking the same questions yesterday, we won't get anywhere. He's right. Maybe there's a different angle I could try. Did you hear anything else would be good, too. Okay, never mind. We might be over here, then. I think the reason she heard it... Yeah, did you hear anything else? If she heard... You know who's snacking on Munchos or something like that. Did you happen to hear anything else at the time?
Anything else?
Anything else besides the victim and the shooter's conversation? Anything at all?
That's quite a vague question. Other than the conversation, I heard a clock ticking. The two men breathing. Footsteps. That I saw.
Clock ticking.
Clock ticking? What clock was ticking? Nothing new there, as expected. Was there a clock in the room?
To my knowledge, no.
But up.
Yeah, keep going. I was hoping for a little more than that. Could have sworn I read that. Perhaps we should just carry on with the cross-examination. I'll just tactical load.
Yeah, probably load and like see if the other options do anything. It doesn't seem like that added anything.
Laura, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us.
I have given it much reflection, but
I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember.
I only heard one phrase, clearly.
A whole phrase?
You remember something that was said?
Why didn't you say anything yesterday?
So my memory is clear. I was afraid to speak. It has to do with the egg, doesn't it?
You see?
You see, I do not understand what was said.
This could be it. The clue I've been waiting for. Well, what have you said?
It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche.
The shooter, then. Darian Cassand. Well, what did he say?
It's over. It's over. Press the switch. Now.
Switch?
Ooh?
And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche.
I thought it was quite strange myself afterwards.
It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? Maybe we could add it to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo?
From the small window, I heard a voice say, press the switch. Now.
Is there no window in Clavier's dressing room?
I don't recall us being able to see that much into his. We only had the front section of the room we could view.
Yeah. And it was Detective Darian Toussaint's voice.
Yes, I am sure of it.
It's over. Press the switch. Why would he say that to Mr. Latouche? Apollo. The murder weapon, the revolver, was Mr. Latouche's, right? Yeah, but what of it? Well, maybe when he said press the switch, he really meant to say pull the trigger.
No.
No. Because his English isn't so good. Darian Toussaint is a native speaker. Oh, right. Sorry. I kind of forgot who was what. Press the switch. That's not something a killer usually says to their victim, is it? Was there no one else inside the room?
I do not know. All I heard was Mr. Latouche and the detective. So my thought is the thing. This is probably what they were talking about.
If he pressed it from the room, then the thing wouldn't light. So I guess that does counteract it, because theoretically his guitar wouldn't have lit all the way up there on the stage.
Yeah, because... Yeah.
I say do it. Yep, there we go. Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words.
Oh? Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch? Save the lads.
True, there wasn't a switch at the scene. But it just so happens I have a switch right here. That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. The stage? Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there.
On the stage?
Are you claiming that the voice Lamar heard was of someone commanding another to press the switch? It's a possibility. It's a possibility.
Oh, Air Forehead? I'd call that an impossibility.
Why?
It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layers of concert form. The stage is quite far from Lamar's dressing room. Not to mention the Gaviniers were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We are known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted, could not be heard. The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout. So to have Air Forehead's cries have possibly fallen short from the bar.
Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout.
Oh, the earpiece. Because we have the earpieces.
Excuse me? You heard what I said, or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you'd like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, I would be easy to get a message to someone on the stage from the dressing room. Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this?
What's that?
What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking? This is a type of transmitter, a communications device. Communications device? From what I've heard that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't it right, Professor Gavin? Prosecutor Gavin.
Yes, well, they're for talking between band members. We all have one on. We all had one on, yeah.
So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple.
Objection!
True, but wait, those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited.
Amor said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at the cross-section diagram of the concert form. Exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet.
That can't be.
Oh, when Lamar heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage?
Objection!
Ha! You're claiming it's switching question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could have been placed in a pocket and carried away. Some could have hit it on the stage after the fact.
Hey,
True.
he's got a point.
He's got a point. We can't deny that.
How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said, press the switch. Well, I guess we don't. An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there was little point in debating it.
I love how the prosecution always gets away with it. Hey, you may not have been there at the time of the crime. You can't prove that. I hate how they get away with that every time.
I was sure this was the way to go with this.
What is this switch anyway? We don't even know that basic fact.
Wait a second. I do know what the switch is. And if you follow the train of logic to its incredible conclusion...
This helps prove it was on the stage because the switch has a short range and would have to be close enough to trigger it. His guitar one.
Yep. It ends up proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about the switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. Well, Mr. Justice? If you have no further information to share concerning the switch, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Justice? I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what the switch is. Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking the switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what the switch is? It'd be
It'd be the device.
the igniter. Igniter.
Because we link it to the igniter. They're like, what was the igniter used for? Link it to the guitar. What's the proof the guitar fire was caused by this? The videotape, we can see the spark.
Yeah. Author Gavin, you remember this?
That's...
That what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones? Judge. This igniter, what phone looks like this? Igniter? You mean like it's like a lighter? Yes, actually.
Lady Z! You aren't saying this switch is a remote? Come on, it's Clavier talking. You should know better, Earl.
At this point, I'm just doing it on purpose.
Uh-huh. Your reaction says otherwise. You say you're like...
I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter.
What?
Look, I'll show you. Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom.
No, I think not. I think we'll burn it down.
Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I expected. If my whiskers got caught on fire...
It would have been an end of the glorious beard.
Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is remote, igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you?
You're talking about what happened to me, are you?
Ah, exactly. The night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar got fire in the middle of your performance. Wasn't that part of the stage show, though? Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned. And a guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right, he got it in Borgonia from Lamore. He said the sound was amazing before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes.
The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Yeah, forehead.
Yeah?
Don't tell me you're trying to tie those two things together. Those being the shooter's voice, and it heard by Lamar, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire.
I am. It's really simple when you think about it.
So maybe they were a part of this stage trick or something. They were waiting for her to walk by the window. Like, okay, trigger it then, because that was she's on her way to the other spot. Maybe.
The problem is it says it's over, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire. Well, that does seem to make sense. Something about this is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really, it seems pretty simple to me.
Objection!
Yeah, forehead. Don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. But I guess I was wrong.
What is this all about, Prosecutor Gavin?
His simple story simply makes no sense. Thinking that night my guitar got fired, yes. The cause may have been this indeed. However, the guitar got fired during the second set.
Oh, that's right, of course.
Which means, Gavin, the murder happened during the second set. Since it speed ran through that.
The guitar caught fire during Lamore's song.
Indeed. Yet the shooting happened during the third set. Those two are unrelated. Objection.
Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty.
See? His story makes no sense, man.
Objection!
Are you sure about that? What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation that the switch is at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. What premise is this, specifically? I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place during the third act.
Objection!
What's this? But check up in the sky, heard the shots and found the body. All it's happened in the third act.
Objection!
Gunshots rang out. And according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time.
Oh,
Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us in his testimony, namely that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting.
This is insane, man.
Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote triggered igniter was inside the guitar.
What if Machi is the one that pressed the switch and he did it on order from Darion?
That's what I was thinking.
Because clearly Darion and him have something going on.
They have a side deal on the cocoon.
Probably. And that Darion's like, you're gonna help me with this, and like the kid's taking the fall, but the kid is either like, I take the fall for this murder, or I go back and I get caught for taking the cocoon out and I die. Like,
I think
what
it's a
would
cash deal. I think it's a cash deal or some sort of other deal. I don't think, or his motive was to get in somewhere, right? Because he doesn't want to go back to his country. From all these facts, you can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballet performance, the second act.
What?
Order, order, order. But that goes against the evidence.
No, it doesn't.
What does, Your Honor? This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes? Hey, he's right, look. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Look. Why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through, with little merit for the person doing it. I'm sure whoever it is had some reason.
Gain an alibi.
Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics.
You're saying that the order was reversed on purpose?
Reverse, Prosecutor Gavin.
The criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have come after the guitar burst into flames. If forehead was raised, another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire.
Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flames. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was a ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body?
See, we haven't gotten a good enough view of this. Controller, stop. Controller, stop. Controller, stop being stupid. We don't see any blood on his front side.
Yep.
This has been bothering me the whole time. Like, it's this shoulder right here. Like, where's the blood? We should see blood if the shot pierced him.
That was the final touch that made Kaseki follow the lyrics the whole way. Order, order, order. That would explain this as the most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second.
Objection!
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good. I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic. For it's flawed from the very beginning. Is it now?
Flawed. Her hearing it in the first place?
Yes, contradiction there, forehead. I've pointed it out several times no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lamar have heard a voice through it?
Oh.
I know that you would like to divert our attention from the critical fact. But you're basing your entire line of reasoning on false premise.
Right. Lamore's testimony is my entire case. That voice she heard, the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear Apollo? Hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying, press the switch. And near the crime scene, we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work?
I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Care to test how Lamar closed it? Did the culprit just close the window? Could the culprit have just closed the window? We have no proof it was open, but...
No fingerprints either. I imagine they might have dusted it. A key point, to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court? Okay, Justice, you've got one thing to prove and one thing only. Lamar heard a voice. And she heard it during the second set. Think, how is Lamar able to hear the voice? She was somewhere else.
She was in the vent.
When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it. It had it been open either. Meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through the window.
Ah, it's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Bordinian too.
As I was saying, Lamar could not hear the voice through the window. So there can only be one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. What's this?
You do amuse me so. And here I thought you and Good Sense were back on speaking tongues. And I'm afraid you and Good Sense are speaking two different languages. Shall I interpret for you, Air Forehead? Lamar clearly stated she heard a voice through that small window. And there's only one small window at the scene. Now, hold on. Now, to be fair, she said she saw it through a small window. How would she know what the small window was, specifically?
The problem is, if she was in a vent, she would know it would be under her, right?
No, because the vent's on the side.
No,
Like the vent was on the wall.
The vent's on the roof.
The vent was on the wall. I don't know if we have anything about the vent. I'm pretty sure it was on the wall.
It's on the roof with it.
We don't have it on here.
There's the vents by the door on the top. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is. Ah, I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well, you claim Lamar heard the voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. Lamar heard the voice from here.
Okay, there's vents up here. Okay, it is in the roof.
This is where Lamar heard the voice from.
Oh, did I pick the wrong vent? Oh, no.
That's the air vent. What did she tell us? She said she's a Burgundian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this an air vent and a small window.
Objection!
Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous into ludicrous. Sulmar was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice.
That's the only logical explanation, yes.
Logical? I don't think the word means what you think it means there, forehead.
Okay, what about it isn't logical?
Ha! How the merits say it? Why would Lamar be in a ventilation system? Hiding like a rat. No offense intended to her, of course.
The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lamar? You've been listening to our discussion here, yes?
Yes, I admit, had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through? I fear the prosecutor might himself need an interpreter.
The problem here is words. Lamar, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall?
Yes, it was up on the ceiling. Why?
Order, order. I will have order. Witness, you will clarify the statement to the court. Are you in fact saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room? And that's where you heard the moment of the crime?
Yes, in fact I was. I am sorry. I never imagined it to become such an important point.
Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? Can't say. I believe it's time for another testimony.
I'm not sure I can't.
May I remind you that this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling of that room. Please. We're gonna get an objection from the magician. Well, looks like I'm on the right track.
Is he in the audience? He's just watching. He's like,
I think she's
nope,
gonna
nope,
fib
that's
here.
not that's not how it worked. No, that's
I think the
not
bracelet's gonna go. The bracelet's gonna go.
Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice.
It's a big vent.
I had heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I'd heard. And so I was there, and as to why I was there, I cannot say. I'm bound to secrecy on this matter. We gotta press that one.
Bound to secrecy.
In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold.
But you say you were in the middle of your performance. So this did happen during the second set.
I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know what I heard.
Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail.
That's what the cross-examination is for, forehead. Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission.
Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. Well, what are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her. I'm waiting for the...
Wait for the what?
I'm waiting for the bracelet to light up. No!
Not yet. I don't. She doesn't have a reason to be unsure at the moment.
Exactly who bound you to secrecy?
I'm not sure I'm allowed to say who it was. No, I think perhaps it's alright. It is just a name after all. It was Valant Gamare. Perhaps you know him. Valant Gamare? What?
You mean Uncle Valant? What? Valant Gamare? Who's Valant Gamare?
Judge, do you not know any great magicians out here in this world? What's going on with you? A grand magician? The one responsible for the illusion performed during our concert. Clavier knows what's up now. Clavier's understanding. He's like, well, crap.
Interesting reaction, Prosecutor Gavin. Lamore was bound to secrecy. Gonna take some hard-hitting proof to make her talk. I think I know why she was up there, but how do I prove it? So without a word, you just let the third set start.
After the curtains closed for the second set, there was still much to do.
You could have prevented this whole misunderstanding if you had only told us sooner.
Yes, perhaps I could have. I see little point in badgering a witness. What's done is done. The mind works entirely differently when one is in the middle of a performance. Why, I've lost my voice in the middle of the show and kept on singing, completely unaware.
Singing without a voice. If only all contradictions were so obvious. If only I could get Lamore to talk. Pressuring her like this doesn't seem to be getting me anywhere.
So yeah, I think he's saying we do have to present there. So I think it might be the tape. You're bound to secrecy, and this is why. The magic trick is why you're bound to secrecy.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Nope.
We'll just pretend like that never happened. YouTube will never know. So what does it want us to do? Oh, I didn't mean to hit that.
Above the ceiling, could you be more specific?
I cannot.
Because you're bound to secrecy.
Yes. To tell the truth, I was not supposed to even say I wasn't above the ceiling. I dare not say it anymore. Dare not say more.
Doesn't sound like I'll be able to coax it out of her just by asking.
Okay, so that's basically saying no pressing, just do it.
As to why I was there, while we're just trying things out, can you put the brooch against that?
I don't think the brooch proves anything here.
Think about it. Where was the brooch?
It was in the room, but like,
Under what?
That has nothing to do with why she was up there.
Maybe she had to change while she was on her way. The brooch drops through the bench. Right, she stopped up there. When she heard the gunshot, she stopped. Right? So maybe she stopped for a reason, and that's because her brooch dropped through the hole. You try to videotape again,
I didn't present the tape on this one, I don't think.
You try.
I was right, I just did it on the wrong one. I was
Lamar,
right, I did it on the wrong
the
one.
reason you're present about the ceiling is quite clear.
The classic Earl and Ace Attorney. Right idea, wrong destination.
That's on you this time. Especially when you consider what happened during a performance.
What happened?
Yes, it's all right here on this video.
Okay, maybe she didn't change outfits, and she just lost the brooch, because her dress looked a little different, but it does seem like it's the same one all the way through.
She definitely doesn't have the brooch, though.
The brooch the brooch does disappear, though.
As we can see, Lamar was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Ah! Though it saddens me to be so realistic. Lamar is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view. And during that time, she moved to the back of the forum. Apollo! What? What, Trucy? She's gonna be mad at them for revealing the trick. It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules.
So Trucy's confirming that's what happened. Thanks, Trucy.
But I'm a lawyer. I'm not supposed to be nice. This is all very fascinating. But how is this possible?
It's possible because yes.
There's only 20 seconds between as she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast.
Clever knows.
Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Aha! He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage to the backstage to the rear of the forum. Recall Lamar's testimony from yesterday. She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of this route above the ceiling. Lamar knew of this because of her part in the illusion. But she wasn't the only one who knew.
What?
What? What? Just now in the lobby, Machi told me something.
I know. No, if I open Mint, I can leave the stage and backstage. He said that?
Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin?
knew about the Vanishing Act, of course. Yet I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why did the magician tell me?
Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis.
Yep.
They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound Lamore to secrecy. Well, Lamore?
I'm impressed, Mr. Antony. Machi was right about you.
So what does this mean? Are you saying you used this rod above the ceiling?
I did.
Well, that's that, but I'm still a little confused.
You always are, Judge.
Why is that, Your Honor? As I said before, 20 seconds. There was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds, tops! How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice. That's a good question. Can the witness explain this to the court?
Of course you can.
Oh, fuck.
She can't, Judge. I cannot.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Yes? It's all up to you. Do your thing. One thing, Your Honor. You need to explain how Lamore was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater. What do I get picked on? It's Lamore who's going along with the program here.
As I have stated before,
Found a secrecy.
I am not at liberty to speak on the illusion that night in detail.
Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. Well, hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her.
Yes, if you would, please.
Right. I feel like a student before the finals. Good luck, Apollo. Tracy could be a big help here. Like,
Tracy, we need a hint. Tell us.
we don't need a hint yet.
No, Tracy, like, tell us. Tell us about the magic trick. Come on.
Okay. I thought you were talking to you-know-who.
No, Tracy, not Poke Girl.
A certain Sinnoh lady.
I followed the route exactly as was instructed. There was an emergency exit in the backstage where stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side of the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. 2 minutes? I was on my way when I heard the voice. 2 minutes?
2 minutes, you say. The mystery deepens. I thought it was just too much to hope that the judge would come up with something. As does my curiosity. Thanks, Judge. Take it away, Mr. Justice. Right, Your Honor. All I have to do is find the contradiction between what Lamore is saying and what we can see plainly in the video.
So I think we just immediately throw the video at her, because it was not 2 minutes.
I figured it out already. I'm a magician after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secret. Come on. You're supposed to be on my side here. I think she's telling the truth about 2 minutes.
Yeah, but it's also clearly off. 'Cause it's like 20 seconds before she reappeared, so how did it happen so quickly?
The question is not when did she reappear, when did she leave is the big question here, right? So this is that lovely misdirection that has been going down, right? So is the her standing in the video actually her standing? Why don't you pull up the video for you for a sec? Right, so she's in front of the stage right here, and the stage raises, so I'm thinking before the stage even raised, right? The moment the stage raises, she leaves, right? Because she has to. What's easier, going down from the high platform or just looking at that trapdoor under her that's obviously marked out? At this point, all they see is a silhouette. Maybe it could be a double, maybe something like that, but as soon as he pulls it, I think she's already long gone, right?
Well, the spark already happened at that point. This point too.
No, Spark hasn't happened yet.
No, the spark did happen.
No, he's having a solo right now. Then it happened.
That's when it fully catches fire. The spark was way earlier.
Yeah, so she had to be gone before that. Right, everyone's looking up, and then she reappears. Trapdoor under her right there. Right? I think she was gone before the platform even raised. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. That's fine. Plan was for me to move in 2 minutes. There's our issue. 2 minutes?
Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you're running.
Running? In that cramped, dark tunnel above the ceiling?
Haha, Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit makes no difference to me.
Ah, that's true, but... You're saying that on the night of the concert, you made the trip in 2 minutes?
Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. See, I stopped halfway.
Amora disappears on the video for 20 seconds. But she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? From my professional opinion, I bet the answer is right there in that video. Well, Mr. Justice? Perhaps you have some evidence for us? Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony? Evidence explaining the discrepancy.
Maybe this is where the brooch comes in, because he dropped the brooch. That's one side I just had.
That proves that she dropped the brooch, definitely. Right? During it. But that still means that she made the trip. Right?
Well, the duration in that video is not necessarily like real world time, though, Pokegirl. You have to remember that. I think it could be a brooch, because when did she lose it?
Yeah, that proves that she made the trip.
So, like,
right?
I think that like her losing this was concerned her, because like if there is a double of some kind, it would show like there's a difference between the one that left and the one that reappeared.
But the brooch was present last second, right?
It wasn't shown in the end of the in the end. She wasn't
and in
wearing
the video. It wasn't. Like, that's one big difference there, but it doesn't explain how she got there so fast, right?
Well,
the
she
brooch
said it
has to disappear.
She said it took her 2 minutes, which that doesn't make sense at all.
All right, try the brooch. The brooch is definitely dropped. Lamore, do you happen to remember this brooch? Ah, the brooch! We saw that yesterday, did we not? It was found at the scene, Your Honor.
And you're bringing this up now? Why? I thought we had already determined when that was dropped.
So did I, but we hadn't. Take another look at the video. She has the brooch there. Here you can see she's wearing the brooch. Ah, so she is. Let's look a bit later. What? The brooch? It's gone. It shows she made the trip.
What?
Yes, the brooch disappeared in a short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can only be one explanation. The Lamar we see before the Vanishing Act and Lamar we see after are two different people. Okay, that was... What? The brooch is found on the floor of the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lamar, tell me. Did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage? At the very moment you witnessed the crime?
Yes, I think I did.
Order. Prosecutor Gavin.
From your expression, I gather you have no idea what this was the case there, Judge. Of course, I knew about it.
Well, what?
Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switching and the shooting took place at the same time.
So, I was right. There was a switch.
There was. Just before the stage tower rose, Lamar was replaced.
Okay, I was right about the tower rising. While we're on the subject, just who was this replacement Lamar?
Was the man behind the illusion, Valent Grammare.
So it's him himself. It was Grammare.
Grammare.
Which explains him going to and from the scene at the time. That's quite the illusion, but I still don't get one thing.
Yes.
The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on the stage.
That's right.
But this fake Lamar is still singing. And she's pretty good.
It wasn't the fake.
Come on, Apollo, that's an easy one. They were just playing a recording.
Ha 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 ha. The Gavin is on some kind of air guitar band, Fraulein.
Oh, you mean I'm wrong?
When we play a live show, we play live, no record. Perhaps you can explain, Lamar? Very well.
Yes, do tell and add it to your testimony. But she didn't sing the entire time.
We don't have the vent.
They would have heard something.
They would have heard her.
You were singing.
Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recording.
Fuck.
That's why she heard him. Think about that's why she heard him say press the switch. Because if she had earpiece on, it probably connected to his.
Oh.
It could, at least maybe. So I used this.
What? So you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling toward the backstage?
Why should it matter where I sing? Wherever I go, it's the same darkness.
But if you were singing while you were walking... That's right, wouldn't the shooter and the victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads, after all. That's right.
The performance was playing over the loudspeaker, though. The speaker in the room was playing it. That's probably it.
Wouldn't that cause feedback loop?
I think those kind of mics don't really pick up other audio other than the closest sound to it.
Huh.
Cause like a lot of people have like headset microphones that like, they walk around with, or like earpieces, and like
Yeah.
they're talking to someone and like they don't hear the other people around you. So that might be it. Are you sure?
You'd have to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling.
Not because the speaker's playing the song, though it would sound normal. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime.
What stage? Fuck, I know what he means. That old speaker, Apollo. The speaker? Speaker was blaring at the time of the murder.
Satisfied? The dressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing direct feed from stage. At my request, actually.
So Lamar singing in the ceiling.
That's why he had it set up to play in the rooms, is to help cover her singing in the vents.
Kind of just like Lamar singing over the speaker. Ingenious, her voice was hidden by her voice.
Ah,
Lamar,
I have just remembered something.
do tell.
When I heard the noise, the gunshot, yes. It startled me, so I
So you...
stopped singing.
It's right after the stage raises up, right? That's when the switch happened? Right here. Swap. Oh, no, I was...
No, I was checking this. Because, like, it had to... She only says pleasure once.
Oh, does she actually?
This says pleasure twice. And it only said pleasure once. That's what that's what I went to look at.
I was looking for the pause, but...
See? It's only one. It's supposed to be
So he
pleasure,
dies
pleasure.
right at the first pleasure. First or second one. What?
I forgot the words I was supposed to sing.
The song stopped?
Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse. So not many would notice. Forehead, that mixing board I lent you. Where is it?
The mixing, huh? That machine, Apollo, the one that breaks music into tracks. Are we gonna hear the gunshots in it? Oh, this? I completely forgotten about it. Take a listen.
Yeah,
Right there.
that was an extended pause.
Song does stop there. It does. I must have missed it. Look at the lyric sheet. The top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? I'm sad they didn't make us point that out. Now listen again. This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making the terrible mistake. The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during Lamar's ballade. If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter. Which means that Darian Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set.
Yes! Get him up here!
Well, Prosecutor Gavin?
Fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turn around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains.
What's that, Prosecutor Gavin?
Yeah, Forehead theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it entirely based on Lamar's testimony.
It is.
So what? We've proven she was there. We have no reason to doubt her testimony here. Like, what more do you need? You prosecutors have tried to build your case entirely on one witness's testimony before. We tried to disprove it. We're like, oh, no, it's fine. They just forgot. It's all okay. You remember Miss O'Reilly from before? She made a couple mistakes, but it's fine. She had the right idea. She knew what she was talking about. She didn't lie. Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she's lying to protect the defendant?
But you have no proof.
All I'm saying is that the truth is yet unclear. Until we hear it directly from the man himself. Thank you. At least you're really like, I know it's not really proven yet, but we'll summon him. Why not?
The man you don't mean.
Yes. Though he is a friend and band member, Darian Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way.
As someone with a new perspective on the case.
As a suspect, to be frank.
Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. And I'm ready to catch him. Darian Crescent, get ready for justice. This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. Prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin.
I'm the last man who needs to be reminded what his duties are.
Very well. Court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess.